Hey everybody, so I wanted to say hello once again. It's been a while since I've done a vlog, and I wanted to give some kind of video, get that out here tonight, just to talk a little bit where I've been, what's going on, and go from there. I'm hoping to start getting some of the long forms up again. I've been sick now for a little bit. I'm finally starting to get better. My energy is still not there. It's a little bit better than it was, but it's still sort of garbage. And put a hiatus for a little bit on talking about the channel, doing those different aspects of the channel and what it has to offer. I'll probably be starting that up again this coming week. Stopping at a couple different of the local locations that are some of my favorites, like the Union Canal, Tunnel Park, Coleman Park, uh, Lindley Murray Schoolhouse, Lights Fort, and a couple other places, just to talk about a couple of different aspects, like Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, Painted Squirrel, and also the new merch store that'll be coming out here. Hopefully in a month or so. It's just a matter of trying to figure it out, how it actually works. But you guys have been seeing some of the AI artwork. Some of it's been better than others. You have with the merch store the Spreadshirt or Spread Shop. I'm not sure. I think it's called Spreadshirt. Um, might even be the same thing, but they give you three opportunities to design your own artwork. So I've been sort of designing those, and some of them I really like. Some of them not as much. The hand had six fingers and was a little weirdy, and it wasn't what I was going for, because I want to design. My niece Ella is going to design one of our haunted history shirts. Is going to be the green hand, and it's going to be have that "Don't do it, Dennis," and have that across the thing. The green hand, and on the back has sort of like a cousin, or not as a thing, I guess it's called. Have little googly eyes up on top of it. And he's be going, it's like, "Where's Dennis? Where's my Dennis?" On the back, sort of, and just have fun with those types of shirts and design different things. But we're getting some of that stuff designed, getting stuff specifically for Country Roads Take Me Home, America's Rail Stations. Some of the different series will have sort of their own t-shirt or design, and then that'll be on cups and all different types of things, just to have fun with it. But that is coming out here in the near future. But try to stay focused. I've been sick. I got either that flu bug that was going around, hit me really hard, or it was that newest form of coat. I'm not sure. The guy that he lets me live at his place, Bob, he actually got it as well, and like both of us were like really sick, and I just was struggling physically as well because I got injured at my job and then basically got fired because of that, which wasn't pleasant. Um, so therefore, I can't work, and because of how I was terminated, I can't get unemployment either. So that's another reason I haven't been out doing a whole lot of long form filming, because I really haven't been able to do it. Um, Thanks to Josh and Sharon and then Ralph, I'm hoping maybe one of these next couple of weeks, Ralph and I, he came up with the idea of following a river from its beginning to its end, and we're going to follow the Swatara Creek that way. So we're going to go about as close as we can get in Schuylkill County to the start, because Swatara Creek starts up in, I think, some sort of marshy land way back in the wood. It's accessible, but not for either of us, especially not for me right now, because physically I'm just not able to do that type of walking. Um, and so we're going to get as close as we can there to the start, and then stop at different scenic places along the route until we get to Middletown and do that. Josh and Sharon, my friends that run Painted Squirrel and have helped me with a couple of these different uh, programs that I've been putting on, and we're actually going to do the Daniel R. Fisher Myerstown in a Time of War. We're going to do that at some point once I'm feeling better. Uh, and then we're going to use the new film camera for that, and probably green screen, and then put the Isaac Meyer Homestead behind, and then I'm going to do it segmented, and then that way I can get the story told with the emotion needed and just everything that needs to be. And the goal is, once that production is complete, it's about 30 to 32 minutes. We're actually going to make it available on a DVD, and then I'd like to give that to Isaac Meyer Homestead and Lebanon County Historical Society. This production, and then 100% of the proceeds goes to those two organizations, depending on who you buy it from. But I think it's just a cool thing to have out there that sort of makes that time period come alive, draws people attention to the living history and that type of stuff. Which that went very, very well, and that was right around the time when I started to not feel well. I had been invited to a couple different things, which I'll show you. I got invited to the 150th anniversary of the Coleman Memorial Chapel. That's the one that was built in honor of James Coleman, the son of George Dawson and Deborah Coleman. He was, I believe, 14 years old, and he got killed in an accidental horseback riding accident, and sort of double accident there. But it was pretty brutal. We had gone there a couple times, and had actually at St. Luke's Episcopal Church, they have the baptismal, which was originally at First Presbyterian, which is the church, beautiful church that's right there next to Coleman Memorial Park. And the parents had made, back then in the 70s, 1870s, they had did death masks were a big thing. So they based the angel's face on this baptismal off of his death mask, James' death mask. So he's like a beautiful story of love. The willingness of those parents just to see their son's face again, to bear the pain of his loss every Sunday, really talks as a testament to a parent's love. And but anyways, they had the 150th anniversary, and the Saturday that I did the Myerstown Time Award, the Daniel R. Fisher presentation, I was going to try to make it to the latter part of the Coleman Memorial Chapel, the 150th anniversary, but I was starting to already not feel well, and that sort of hit hard, and I was struggling. I was like, I just got to go home, and I was so beat from that, I wasn't able to make Sunday, which they had the Elizabeth Furnace open, which is a wedding venue now, and that was the Baron von Stiegel's glass. It was originally iron furnace, and he eventually turned it into like a glass manufactory, and it's one of the major reasons that he ultimately went bankrupt, because by the time the American Revolution came along, glass manufacturing is much different than iron manufacturing, so the cost to go back to iron manufacturing was beyond his means, and ultimately the American Revolution sort of bankrupted him. And he was an extraordinary man, and it would have been amazing to see those places. Hopefully at some point we'll get to go see him, go get to see the inside of Coleman Memorial Chapel, because I know a lot of you guys, when I go visit these historic churches, we get to see the outside. But like with St. Luke's, where we got invited to see the inside, and Stephen Doster was going to try to get us into Mount Hope Episcopal Church as well, which that was built by the Grubb family. So hopefully we can do that at some point. They also have made it easier access to at St. Luke's to the bell tower. So hopefully at some point I'll be able to do that as well with you guys, just so you can see Lebanon from that viewpoint. But I also got invited by Sam to this cool event, the letter French and Indian War Forts of Pennsylvania by Wesley Schwenk. It was presented by the Cressona Historical Society. Cressona is in Schuylkill County, and it was at St. Mark's Church on September 3rd. Unfortunately, because of how sick I've been, I wasn't able to make that either. But thank you, Sam. People, if you want to keep on sending me stuff like that, as my health gets better, I will try to make a lot of these things, and I try to keep you guys notified when I'm actually going to be out in public. And I got to meet a bunch of cool people at a number of these different things. I've done a couple of things for the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Sons of the American Revolution. I just did Constitution Day, talking about the Constitution with the Sons of the American Revolution. I'm hoping to become a member because, as one of the videos that we have coming up, I go back into the Walborn family history to a church that we have visited before, Christ Evangelical Lutheran Church in Stoutsburg, where my forebears, my ancestor, maybe my forebears, I'm their ancestor, I guess. something related to it. Nonetheless, I also have this awful cough. It's much better than it was there for a little while, but you guys will remember that, people that have been with the channel for a while. But anyways, they had me there for Constitution Day, did that lecture. That was a really cool event. But anyways, we went to Christ Lutheran Evangelical Lutheran Church in Stoutsburg, where a couple of my ancestors are buried, and where the first people that came over from the Walburn family from over in Germany through the Netherlands. I believe it was the Netherlands. It might have been Holland, actually. Yeah, which is the Netherlands. My brain's not functioning right now. Sorry, folks. It's been one of those. Hasn't been one of those days, but it's just been one of those days. Having trouble keeping my thoughts. But anyways, it's cool when people invite me to things like this. If I can make them, I try to. I'm really, really sad I did not. I got to call you, Jared. I'm going to text you first to let you know what happened. Sometimes my track phone does not always share that people left messages, or even I see that calls were made or whatever. And I was so sick, regardless, I wouldn't have been able to make it. Jared Block is the one that has been working on that 3D signage that in Cornwall, a really unique type of sign that shows where all the historical places are. And they just had, I believe in the beginning, it was like October 6th or something, like October 6th or 7th. Jared was going to be there and he wanted to see if we could get together, and I just got the message too late. And like I said, I was so sick I wouldn't be able to make it anyways. But it's a shame because he's put years of work into these signs so people can understand what was all there in Cornwall. He and his dad are extraordinary historians and really, really know their stuff. So at some point, we're gonna be able to get together. It's the same thing I say, like, I want to meet Cheryl and Chris so much from Sun Plus One, Laura from Marker Quest as well. I want to get together with Colleen at some point, Colleen Unvarnished. I know I want to make a trip down the Southern Way to meet Jay and John at some point as well. I'm still hoping to find something out about Kate, how she's doing. I have not heard something yet, which is concerning. I'm hoping some way I can get in contact, at least get in contact with somebody that knows her, to see how she's doing, because it just sort of all contact sort of abruptly stopped it with everybody. And because Kate is one of those folks that she supports everybody. She's been very supportive of Cliff from before my time, extraordinarily supportive of myself, has been very supportive of Cheryl and Chris with their channel, supportive of Colleen, supportive of Lewis. She's just an extraordinary person, really is, and is one of those people that helped get me through all this. So very thankful for her and the channel, everything that's done. But so here are the plans. Josh and Sharon invited me to go along to, it's called the Hans Herr House. It's also known more so as the 1719 Museum. It's down in Willow Street. Hans Herr House, I believe, is the oldest homestead in Lancaster County. They also have a really cool, which this part I want to show you guys at some point, it's called a longhouse. A lot of times you think of Native Americans, you think of teepees and things like that, but they actually had a much more unique and engineered way for a village. Is this beautiful, stunning longhouse that it's massive. A number of families they'd have 4 or 5 of these, maybe more, in a village, and these families lived together, they worked together, supported one another, and it was just so unique to see one of these re-represented in what the form would have been from that time period. And they have one there. It's such a neat tour. The tour guide was phenomenal. They took you down to through the buildings that are still there. I think there's three or so that are original. The house was built in 1719. Hans Herr is actually his son's house, Christian, I believe, but they named it the Hans Herr Homestead. I'm not sure if he's the one that got the original land grant, but it was like 500 acres. And then it went to the son, Hans Herr. And then there's a house that's a local, like private residence that was built for, I believe, their mother-in-law somehow, something like that. I forget what the tour guide said, but they take you to through there and then take you down to the longhouse and the explanation of their way of life. And then I'm hoping they'll allow me to use a couple of the short films that I did outside of the tour itself, because they filming is prohibited during the tour, which makes sense. A number of places like Daniel Boone Homestead do that because unfortunately people are ignorant, and most people when they're filming are not considerate. They don't keep their mouth shut, they don't get in the way, they just sort of let that tour happen and keep in the background. Also, people that are going on tour don't necessarily want to be on film, so it does make sense. I just have to clarify with them if they would allow me to use what film I have that's not involving a tour, because I had a couple of small videos that show some of the way they live. It shows you a little bit of the longhouse, and then see if they'll allow me to come back and actually film the longhouse as part of our Native American culture film series. I did put up a video today that has the pictures. It's the photographic journey type thing. Just want to see where we're at time wise here. I don't want to do too long of a thing like I normally do because I gibber jabber on. But anyways, Josh and Sharon took me along a couple weeks ago for that on a Saturday, and I handled that reasonably well. Potentially tomorrow we're going to go to Cornwall Iron Furnace. They have some kind of celebration type thing. I'm waiting to hear from them to see if they're still planning on doing it, depending on what's going on with them. So I may be doing that. I may just go over myself if they aren't, just to see what's there, to see if they have a bunch of different crafts being shown. It'd be cool to first at least some shorts and things of that nature. Because once I don't know if they have on tours, if they allow filming, because like I said, people just are obnoxious and ignorant and just don't think about that they're ruining the experience and distracting from what the tour is about. So I do get where people come from on that regard, because it can be extraordinarily disconcerting and then ruin the experience for people, and then the whole purpose of people learning living history. But I'd also like to present this place, talk about it a little bit so people know that it's there, and even ask, are you okay with me doing a video that does talk about the place, and the little bits of video and pictures that I have sort of bring it together to talk about the tour. And it's called the 1719 Museum. You also look up the Hans Herr House, and it's put on by Mennonite Life, is the corporation that does everything, that runs it, keeps the place well kept, and all that kind of stuff. So they do a phenomenal job there. It's also, they have a pretty cool bookshop there, souvenir shop as well. But if you love books from that era, they have a lot of really, really neat books there about the different events that happened at the time, and some of the events that we'll wind out talking about, like the massacre of the Conestoga Indians by the Paxton Boys and things of that nature. But coming up, Isaac Meyer Homestead, they are going to have on November 2nd. I believe it's 6 to 8 or 6 to 9. I will put the links on the in the comments for these two events. I am going to do one walk because that is all I can handle at this stage. It's the Haunted History Tour. We're gonna start 6:15 prior, so they're gonna have a campfire there. I am gonna tell some haunted stories from the local region. I'm gonna also talk about some common folklore stories from this general region as well, that came over from Europe, from the old country, and sort of got Americanized and became their own individual stories, sort of like your Headless Horseman stories and things of that nature. Then we're going to do the history walk. I was going to dress up for this one. I am not going to this time because I just don't have the time. And I don't really have the energy. I'm not even sure if the Christmas walk, if I'm going to try to dress up for that either. I may attempt it, but I don't know at this stage. But anyways, on this one, when we do the historic walk, it's going to be dealing with the history of the town, the industries, the unique things about the history that we're going to talk about, and then along the way, I'll point out the different buildings and what purposes they served. It's not going to necessarily be from one era or the other because I haven't had the time to put the thing together. It's mainly going to be about the haunted stories and then talking about the history of town. And the walk will conclude at what once was the Henry Buke Tavern, which is going to be that's the place where Isaac Meyer, the founder of the town, was murdered. So we'll tell that story. We'll also tell a connection to the Blue-Eyed Six, which we've done quite a bit of videos on that. There is one of the members lived in Myerstown in the 1860s during the period of the Civil War. And then we'll also talk about Dead Man's Hill on the eastern side of the town. That we've talked about that, why it's called that, one of the local legend type stories. So that's going to be happening November 2nd. Rain date's November 3rd, same time. Like I said, I will put the link up for that so you guys can check it out if anybody wants to show up. On the 15th, either the 14th or 15th, I will have the right date up in the comments and the link to that event. But, one day is the original day, and if there's a rain, you have the rain date with the next day. It's a Saturday and a Sunday. Hopefully Saturday we'll have that. It'll be, once again, I'm only up for one walk. Just at this stage, it's my energy levels and just my health in general. I can't really do more than that. That one is going to be talking about what Christmas was like in the Victorian era. It's called the Lantern Walk Tour. So there's going to be lanterns, there's going to be Christmas lights. It's going to be a really cool event. I might do it Charles Dickens style, because it is all based off partially how Christmas changed after A Christmas Carol. It really changed the way people viewed Christmas, and then with Queen Victoria and Philip, them starting to show a traditional Christmas, and Prince Philip sort of brought a bunch of the Christmas traditions over from Germany, that the Prussia, like the Tannenbaum, having a Christmas tree and that kind of stuff. So that really changed Christmas to a degree, and a lot of people wanted to emulate what the royals were doing, and that went worldwide. I mean, Britain had a huge influence across the world, and it really changed Christmas. And talking about some of the traditions of the time as we go along that walk, what the houses would have looked like, things of that nature, and just do a regular walk. The sounds, the churches, the bells ringing, how people would have went to church first and then come back home and had their meal, brought the whole family together, how the family structure was different even as well back then, and those types of things. So those are all things that we are going to talk about on that tour. So those are the three upcoming things. I also have December 7th, I am going to be doing a lecture for the Lebanon chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution on Pearl Harbor, the day that shall live in infamy, talking about what led to it, the actual event itself, and then what the cause was, or the consequence of it was, where Japan really woke a sleeping giant. And that was one of the things that the one admiral was very concerned about, because he thought this was going to be a very bad idea for them. But anyways, that's sort of what's coming up for the channel. I'm going to be continuing to try to maybe get out. I have a bunch of then and now that I want to do in Lebanon, specifically around 8th and 9th Street along Cumberland. There's a lot of really cool places that used to be there. I've been getting a bunch of really cool old photos and artistic works of the time period, back in, let's say, the 40s, 50s, even earlier, and get to show where a couple of these different places were. There's some artwork that I like to do some photography of and that type of stuff. Also, I need to get over to Myerstown to do a little bit of preliminary work before the November 2nd event, and then start putting together my presentation and putting the finishing touches on that. But anyways, that's what's coming up. I'm probably going to be starting to do a bunch of long form videos that are going to be some of the ones where I do a lot of audio work and that type of stuff, because that's just what I'm capable of doing right now. until my health really gets rectified, I can't really be making long trips and stuff like that as much as I want to be making them. I just don't have the energy. I got like an hour in me, maybe two, and I'm ready to drop. So it sort of is what it is. I got to work with what I got to work with. One of the things that I wanted to do here as well, if I can get this laptop to come back up, is I want to do. It's been a while. I wanted to do a mail time because I got a bunch of really cool uh, letters, cards, and gifts. And I'm going to start with the first one here, and then we're going to show the books. This card here, woo, it's coming to that Halloween season, is from Lindsay, and she sent me two really, really neat books that are definitely going to get used. So thank you for the card. Thank you for the message, Lindsay. I might just drop the card and get to look up my nose. The first one, she knows how I like the images across America. So she sent one of these. It's on Route 6. Route 6 is one of the coolest routes. It's sort of across northern Pennsylvania. It goes through Wellsboro. It goes through Cottersport. I want to meet, I believe it's, this is hard, I believe it, I think it's Debbie. I'm really sorry if because my brain is not working today, but you had said something about like, oh, you were up in Wellsboro, and when I go through, when I do this trip, I will let you know, and that way we can stop, get dinner, lunch, breakfast, whatever, hang out a little bit, and go through some of that. But I want to, once I get a lot of the financials have to be worked out with what's happening going forward from my loss of my job, and just the damages that were done to me and that type of stuff. My health care has got to be resolved. There's a number of different things that have to happen there for me to financially be able to afford to go out and do this. Because this took a toll on my body, and I should have did some stuff last year had I realized how this was going to turn out. Last year there was a path that I was told to do, and I didn't, and that's not really available to me either. It can be used, but I'm having to go a path that I don't really like, which does not make me happy. But I also have the understanding I don't have a choice. But anyways, I want to do the entire Route 6, starting from where it's. I think Jay had said it doesn't go the whole way over to New Jersey, but it goes pretty close. But I want to take this the whole way across the state, and all the really amazing towns. Like, this is such a cool book. I love looking at these. It gives me such great ideas, and knowing I want to go back to Cottersport and Wellsboro again, just to check out all that stuff, because Wellsboro, like Ralph said, it is one of the most beautiful towns I've ever been in. Very much like New Hope is a stunning town. Jim Thorpe is a stunning town. Cottersport is stunning. There's just a number of different towns out there that are just like, wow, I'm twitching. So, she also sent me Pennsylvania Turnpike. This has been the road of the future for about 80 years, but I have a lot of good memories, a lot of bad memories driving on that. Josh and I, when we were doing floor work, we went out to Johnstown. We had 4 stores out there that we used to do, and then in that grouping there was Bedford. I'm trying to think what the name of it. I can never think of it. I want to say Bradford, but I don't think that's right. But it was a nice store. The manager was like really, really cool. And then I think there were 2 other ones in that one as well. But that was it. Really, Pennsylvania Turnpike is really, really neat. Like, a lot of the stops along the way that they had, like the gas station there, expensive as all get out. The whole turnpike is, but there are these old stone buildings that they had when they first built the thing, and then the newer ones that they've had for the gas stops and stuff like that are built like that, but much newer, of course. But it really is an experience, and it's a much faster way and sometimes a much more terrifying way to travel. To be honest, it's sort of it is what it is. It's very expensive, but we will we'll probably do stuff on that as well because I just think it's such a cool thing. It really is impressive. So let's go into the other cards. I also got a very cool card here from Linda. Another one of these fall cards. Thank you for this and the message as well, Linda. And then I've got a bunch of them here from Jay that if I put one of these up already, I'm sorry. I can't remember when the last time I did. Was it like a mail time? So thank you for this card. This is back. I was not feeling well, and it's a while you're on the mend card, and this one was sent back in July. Thank you for that, Jay. Then I have another one with the cool puppies on it. Another one is thank you once again for the message in this one. I was just going through everything, trying to find all my latest cards, and now stuff won't stay on my lap. But he makes a joke about he said, because the previous one was a duplicate card, and he mentioned, he's like, I know this isn't a duplicate card. He just let me know how many dogs I should send you. Make me feel better. And then another one is a friendly hello. This is another cool card from Jay. And there's another one that he sends a really neat message. This one got me a little bit, Jay. I have to admit. It's like sometimes it seems like life is 2 steps forward and 1 step back. In these starting to get dark, frustrating moments, it can be easy to forget how far you've come. But promise me you'll never forget how amazing you are and how many people care about you, because a lot of people do, especially me. And then his personal messages. The personal message was, thank you, Jay. It really was a very, very cool. And it's times that I said before with like Kate and Jay, and others as well, of course, but the cards are almost at these perfect moments. You're sort of down, maybe feeling a little sorry for yourself because life has been sort of brutal, and they send something like that, and I can't say thank you enough. And then the latest card for us, we're coming here on Halloween. Just another great card. Thank you for the message as well, and thank you for the gifts that you send in each of these as well, because they help a lot. Now Jay has also given another gift, which I'm going to turn the camera around for this. This is something I've actually needed for quite a while, and I think Jay was wise to see that, not only for the filming, but also for my writing. As I get some normalcy in my life, this will allow me to get back to that and do what I need to do. So let me turn this around. So hopefully you guys can see this. I don't know why I went away from the actual picture, but Jay got me a really, really nice laptop. And thank you so much, Jay. This thing is phenomenal. It is going to be a huge, huge help. Let's see if it comes up with the actual. Well, it's not going to do that. It's not going to behave when it's supposed to. But this thing is impressive. It's got weight. You could beat somebody with this because it is metal. I've never had something anywhere nice as this. So thank you, Jay. I also have the cover and the mouse and all that. Let's turn this back around. So that was my hand. So thank you. I can't say thank you enough, Jay, and everybody who has been so supportive of the channel, of myself, helping me to get through this. And the channel, it's continuing to grow, shockingly, because I think a lot of channels, it would almost be a death knell for how this thing has been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We've been sort of, I had monetization was taken off for a couple days because they had some. It's almost like somebody has too much time on their hands and they're like, hey, let's ask him for another piece of information. I think the next time they'll be like, hey, just so we can truly identify who you are, we're going to need your left kidney. At that point, I think I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm just not going to make money on YouTube because sort of need that. But it has been a journey, no doubt. I'm starting to feel, like I said, I'm starting to feel better finally. Still don't really have the energy yet. There for a while, I couldn't really eat, and what I was eating, I was throwing up. It's been a struggle, no doubt, but we're getting there, and here at some point, normalcy will reign supreme again, and we'll go from there. But for right now, it's just a little bit of nonsense mixed in with a little more nonsense, and you just grin and bear it. But I'm hoping maybe over this next bit, I can start to get things back where they need to be with the channel. Start getting posting a little more actively, trying to get all that stuff together, trying to figure a couple other things out. I got a couple presentations that I got to start getting ready for and finished up what my finalized preparations and go from there. But I want to say thank you as always, everyone, for supporting the channel. Thank you for everything you do to keep this going. I could use your prayers, no doubt, for stuff going forward, that things get resolved. And I think that's the biggest thing for me right now, is getting some resolution to some of these things so I can move forward with my life and not have the stresses that I have right now. They just sort of know what's coming and go from there. But as always, thank you for coming along on this journey with me, and we'll see you all about town.